Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good morning. Are we all enjoying this nice tropical weather today? We're all glad that you made it here safely. Welcome to the 2026 Tale of Our Cities event. My name is John Zadikian. I am the MC, I guess, for today, and I have the pleasure of introducing Kelly Vanden Bosch. I'm on the board of directors of the Chamber, and we welcome you to this event. We hope that you have a wonderful time with us and enjoy all of the networking as well as the information that will be heard today. So at this time, I would like to introduce the president of the Dearborn Area Chamber of Commerce, Kelly Vanden Bosch.
Thank you, John. Good morning and welcome everyone to, as John said, the Tale of Our Cities 2026. So it's an honor to be here all together and welcome you. I love that we are celebrating the growth and energy and continued progress for both Dearborn and Dearborn Heights. And I want to thank you all for starting your morning with us. So thank you very, very much. Regrettably, Mayor Baydoun will not be with us today. Yes, I know. I personally do want to acknowledge the positive momentum we've already seen under Mayor Baydoun and his administration. In less than a week since being sworn in, the energy has been incredible, and I hope you've seen it. We do look forward to seeing where his leadership will take the city of Dearborn Heights, and I look forward to collaborating with him. At this time, I would like to recognize my board members as well as elected officials that are in attendance today. If you could please stand, and I want to thank you all for being here. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our sponsors for their generous support for today's event. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Comcast, for your continued partnership and commitment to our business community. Your support makes this event possible and helps bring together the people and conversations that move our cities forward. Thank you so much. We're also grateful to our Powering Our Cities sponsor, DTE Energy, whose investment helps fuel growth and opportunity across our communities. Thank you so much. And also to our table sponsor, Michael Baker International. We're thankful for your support and partnership. Please help me in thanking all of our sponsors. In the center of your table, you will find question cards. If you would like to ask the mayor a question, please write your questions on these cards and hold them up. We will come around to collect them. After Mayor Hammoud speaks, we will have a brief Q&A. Please keep in mind, due to time constraints, that maybe not all questions will be answered. All right, let's get started. It is my pleasure to introduce Mayor Hammoud, who was just sworn in for his second term with the city of Dearborn. Throughout his career, he's provided bold leadership for Michigan and Dearborn with a thoughtful, pragmatic approach to government that puts people first. That includes investing in infrastructure, improving public health and safety, and delivering quality services while lowering the tax burden on residents. I now invite Mayor Hammoud to the podium for his remarks.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's great to be with you all. I have a short presentation. Hopefully you can all see the slide deck. They're not really words in the slide deck, hopefully just some pictures, and I'll carry on with the words. There's a lot that's happened over the last 4 years, and biasly, if I can speak to it, I'd say it's been one of the most transformative terms in Dearborn's history and recent memory. We've had a lot to be proud of. In particular, we've been able to bring down, to date, roughly $200 million in additional resources outside of our city budget. And to put that in perspective, our general fund budget on an annual basis is about $150 million. And so imagine having an additional whole budget to invest in all across the city, and I'll speak to some of those investments today. Firstly, I want to speak to creating economic development. When we first came in, the largest, brightest buildings in the city were the Oakman Boulevard Apartments, Village Plaza, which I still drove by today, and the Hyatt. And what I can tell you is, as of now, the Oakman Boulevard apartments have been demolished. Those are over at Michigan Avenue and Oakman Boulevard. And now there's an open parcel for new development in this area, adjacent to another open parcel exactly on Michigan Avenue. And we're expecting, hopefully, a multi-use development to take place here soon. For Village Plaza, this is probably the top 3 question I get in the city. When is it actually coming down? We went to court. We won in court. It's ordered to come down. I can tell you, as of today, the process has begun. The asbestos abatement is ongoing, and if you drive by the parking lot on any given day, you have between 6 to 12 vehicles who are working through the asbestos abatement. There was an unfortunate incident that delayed the project. A third party came in when asbestos abatement was thought to be complete. More asbestos was identified, and obviously we want to ensure that the demolition happens in a safe process and a safe manner. This is also a very difficult demolition. It's along the Rouge River, and it's along actually a few outfalls. And so we have to be very meticulous with how the demolition process actually proceeds. But it's still underway and it's still moving forward. The entire building has just about been scrapped entirely as well. And so a lot of the metals and such have all been recycled, which is good, decreasing the debris that will be taken over to a yard when this product is done. The Hyatt. The Hyatt, we've actually signed a contract with a new developer out of South Florida. The Hyatt will become a Hilton. It will become a Hilton hotel, a 5-star Hilton hotel. We put some Easter eggs in the video we showcased at the inauguration. You have about 150 people in the building each and every single day working through the remodeling right now as we speak. And those are actually some of the renderings of the finishes that you can expect when we hope that this building will be open by end of this year. If you recall the Hilton served as the 2nd largest convention center at the time. It's currently the 3rd largest convention center. It's about 80,000 plus square feet of convention and meeting space, which will be retained with the development agreement that we achieved with the operator. And it's not going to serve as a 700-room hotel. There's not much use for 700-room hotels anymore. This will likely be about 225 hotel rooms and about 200 apartments, all workforce ready eligible upon completion. And so they'll be targeting the University of Michigan Dearborn, Henry Ford College students, as well as new grads trying to call Dearborn home. And so really excited for this product to move forward. There'll be 2 separate entrances, one for the hotel that we're all accustomed with, and a separate for residents on the back end, which we're working through right now. So it's a beautiful project. We're excited to see it. I've walked through it a few times, and I think there's going to be a lot more. And I can tell you that the rotunda's coming back as well. It still spins, it still turns. We actually have the renderings for what the restaurant will look like. I didn't place them in this deck. Maybe leave you some surprises for later. The other thing I can tell you is housing. We conducted a housing study that was funded by our BRA board. And Dearborn is the fastest growing city in Michigan according to the census, and actually one of the fastest growing cities in the Midwest of the country. And what our study told us was that we need about 1,500 units of housing by 2035. On average, for like the last decade or two, Dearborn has only been constructing about 24 to 25 new homes per year. And so we have a big hole to fill. And so for us, we've been working diligently on acquiring new parcels of land and working with developers to bring about new housing development. One of those parcels of land is over at Greenfield and Paul, also known as Lundy Parkway. This is actually behind the Walmart over at Ford and Mercury. It's actually adjacent to Carhartt's headquarters, which is here in the city of Dearborn. And so you have about 30 acres of space, which the city has come across, about 25 of which so far that we have in our possession. And so we've been mapping out brand new neighborhoods, which we actually just landed a $50,000 grant to continue the planning for in terms of the stormwater infrastructure, which is necessary, as well as all the utilities and such that need to be included. What I can tell you about this parcel, you also see that we didn't overbuild. We left a lot of the green space here. That green space, it's actually a fairly dense tree area, absorbs a lot of water for us. Upon conclusion of our flooding study, it told us that you don't want to eliminate this green space. You'd only exacerbate the flooding problem that persists across the city of Dearborn. So we intended to design a neighborhood that provided the green space, provided the amenities, but also ensured that we had a diverse selection of housing types. And so this is just an initial layout. We showcased this in 1 second clip at the end of the inauguration. Somebody cropped it, threw it up. So I figured I'd just showcase it here. What I can also tell you is just this week, Across from this parcel, there's another 7 acres that a local developer has. He's also just been approved to move forward for a city council study session on the 27th of this month, where he's also intending to develop an additional 120 townhomes. This is the same developer that constructed Midtown luxury condos over around Fairlane Mall. To date, those are at 90% occupancy. In the city of Dearborn, we have a less than 2% vacancy rate on housing, which is phenomenal. And our absorption rate, how quick they come off the market, is 5 times higher than the state average. And so Dearborn is bursting at the seams, and we're really excited to get this project kicked off. Flooding is a top issue. We all remember the devastating floods of 2021, and so we have a lot that we've been programming in order to help reduce the likelihood of flooding. The reality is there will always be a bigger storm. And what our job is to work with council, to work with our team, to reduce the likelihood of flooding depending on the size of storm. And so I want to speak to some of the projects that we've done. One of which we expended about $1 million for a Rouge River cleanup. This actually cleared about 52 log jams, and it brought down the Rouge River water levels about 1 foot in many areas. But what it also did was it actually improved the clearance. So water moves through the Rouge River 70% faster. So what happens is when our outfalls, all the excess water gets emptied out into the Rouge, it'll move through the city of Dearborn at a far quicker rate, providing us that increased capacity for us to keep pushing water out when we do have those heavy rainfall events. The city of Dearborn right now has a capacity for about 3.5 inches of rainwater in 24 hours. We just completed our flooding study with council. Took about 2 years, and we'll be presenting it later this year. But our goal is to try to increase that capacity by about 50%. It's about a $400 million project. It'll take a little over a decade. And so we have many short-term and long-term projects to get there to help reduce that likelihood of flooding and give people peace of mind who continually reinvest in their homes, although we had the flooding in 14, 17, 21, and so on. Additionally, we also began a pilot over on Moore Circle, where we began to convert the easements into bioswales. To date, we converted 24 easements. The 24 easements will absorb 40,000 gallons of water every rain event. Our goal is to actually expand this to 1,000 easements across the city. We need slightly larger easements than normal. We also have a partnership with the Friends of the Rouge that maintain the bioswales for the first 2 years, because by the third year, they should kind of take care of themselves on their own. The weeding is pretty much done at this point. If we're able to achieve 1,000 easements, we'd actually be able to absorb 1 million gallons of water every rain event. And really, if you look at flooding, flooding is just a math problem. It's how much water can be stored in your stormwater infrastructure system, how much water is stored in green space, and the rest is going to the path of least resistance, which is our streets. I'm okay with street flooding. So when you call me saying your catch basin is full with leaves and the water's not going down, I'm actually celebrating. Because the only alternative is if everything is full, it's coming to the path of least resistance, which is more than likely your home. And so that's why we are really proud of this initiative. One of the other projects that is currently underway, when I first came into the city, we met with all the employees in every single department. And some of our water and sewer techs flagged for us that we have a line called the Colson-Palmer line. This is a 12-foot pipe that extends about 2 miles. And 50% of it was filled with sediment, meaning 50% of its capacity is actually currently offline. And so we worked through the process of securing a CDBG-DR grant. We've submitted the documentation. It was about $25 million that we received from the federal government. So some of those funds are being activated right now to clear out the Colson-Palmer line. This line was designed and intended to hold 7 million gallons of water during a storm water event. Currently, it only does about 3 million. And so by the time we finish clearing it out in the next 18 months, we'll be adding 4 million gallons of capacity to our storage every storm event without having to add new infrastructure. This is just ensuring that we're clearing out existing infrastructure and maximizing what we currently already have in place. Like 12 foot, we almost had somebody drowned in this line to tell you how big it is. Like you can actually go in there, work through it. This is a massive pipe. The other thing that we're doing is we secured a FEMA grant from the federal government for something called a flapgate. Many of you might be familiar with a backflow that you might install in your house. A flapgate is a backflow for a whole neighborhood. And so in this particular neighborhood, there are very few storm lines that run underground, and so you can actually stick a backflow underground fairly easily. And that project is actually happening this year. This will provide a backflow for around 3,500 homes, protecting about 13,000 or plus residents. And the way it works is when water is flowing normally, the flap gate is open, but as water builds up inside of the storm water line, the flap gate will close automatically, preventing flooding from happening in this entire neighborhood. This is a neighborhood over on Michigan Avenue and Chase, which we're happy. We've submitted for a few more flap gate FEMA projects across the city, but this is one of the short-term projects that we're looking to get through while we still build our capacity for much larger events over the next decade or so. Next, I want to speak to public safety and probably the number one complaint we get, which is speeding and reckless driving. And I'll note, because I see Stephanie here from Ford, that most of these drivers are driving Dodge. So yeah, we don't do any Dodge vehicles. To date, we've installed roughly 530 traffic calming units across the city. These are everything from the flashing stop signs, one-way signs, the speed humps. Yes, some of them got plowed off during the snowplow. We expected this. We are a city that plows our streets and salts our streets. When we piloted the speed humps, we estimated that roughly 30% would get damaged year over year based on the first year that we rolled them out. And so they're fairly cheap. They're about $100 per unit. And so we'll be coming out back in the spring and rolling them out. Some ask, why not take them out before the winter? It costs me more than $100 to take them out. And so I rather them just get plowed off and we bring in a new one because they get, they probably have a 3-year life anyways. So nothing for us to really panic. What I can tell you though is car accidents are down 5% year over year. Car accidents that cause bodily injuries are down 15%, which we're really proud of. And if you want to look at two of the intersections where people often tend to speed, Military and Gulfview, and I live in that neighborhood, on average, 20% of folks coming down those roads were driving 10 miles above the speed limit. That's now down to about 1%. So extremely positive impact due to these speed humps. Some people say they don't work. They do work. You can actually take the speed hump at 20 miles an hour. I don't communicate that publicly. A lot of people stop before it. I'm okay with that as well. But just want to let you know. On traffic citations, we've also shifted to focus on moving violations. We did that when I first came in. So speeding, reckless driving, running a red light or a stop sign. This last year, tickets are up about 25%. And the majority of those tickets that are being issued are really for 1 through 5 speeding, 6 through 10 speeding. We brought back the traffic court as well, which was done away with during the COVID time. We brought this back, so if you do have your first speeding ticket, we can work with you to get the points waived as soon as you go through the traffic school and get through that. So we're really doing our best to crack down on the practice of speeding and reckless driving, but it really is a community effort. The city can do so much, policing can do so much, but also there has to be a parental responsibility component to this. Your child does not need that 500 horsepower Hemi engine. It's a crap engine anyways. They'd be just fine at the age of 16 with a Ford C-Max. I mean, what else? You have Ford Maverick. We have many cars that'll get you from point A to point B. And if that don't work, you can use SmartFlex. For $2 to $8, you can get about anywhere in the city in a publicly funded Uber. And I think that's far more proactive. I've pulled over a few people myself. I can't say that was legal, but people that have cut me off. Yeah, my police chief wasn't happy when I told him the story, but I did pull over one individual who actually pulled over because he saw it was me, and I called his mom. His mom came and picked up the car and took him back home. I've done that 3 times so far, and I'm 3 for 3. 3 for 3. I can't believe they stopped. I mean. The other thing we're really focused on is incorporating IT. I think the terminology of these last 2 years has really been AI, and what can AI do to really expand the services that we're offering, provide greater efficiencies to the staff that we currently employ. And we've done a few things. 311. We've centralized all our phone numbers now down to 311. If you are in the city of Dearborn, you can call 311 and reach our call center. We had somebody in Traverse City trying to call 311, and you're not going to get Dearborn. So they had a mistake there. The other thing we've also done is you can go to dearborn.gov/311. We haven't publicly announced this yet, but you can go on there and kind of like a see-click-fix app. You can submit your issue to Public Works online. You'll receive a ticket, and you'll receive a follow-up email once that issue has been closed out. So we're extremely happy with this. When you call 311, it is powered by AI. It's a program that we have in a partnership with Google. Roughly 35% of all calls are now handled by AI. And what this has done is it allowed our customer service representatives to take more time with a little more complex issues that are coming in. And so the easy issues are being able to resolved fairly quickly with the AI system, which is great. The other advantage is our chatbot. So if you go online, we have our chatbot, and obviously many people in Dearborn speak different languages. So for example, if I'm an Arabic native speaker and I want to speak to somebody in Arabic, but the customer service agent doesn't speak Arabic when they're chatting, the AI will do live translation. So I'll communicate in Arabic, it'll translate to English to the customer service representative, they'll respond in English, it'll translate real time back to Arabic, so the resident gets the information they need in the language most comfortable to them. When I came in, we had green screens and blue screens, and the ERP system swap is underway, but online permitting is here in the city of Dearborn finally. And we'll be launching this formally in the spring. And so all your permits you'll be able to submit online. We'll be opening up a permitting lab also in the Horseshoe when you come into Dearborn Administrative Center. So if you need assistance in this first year to upload your permits online, you'll be able to do so. If you haven't submitted the permit in Dearborn, right now you walk in, we have a carousel of paper, you pull it out, and everything has to be submitted by hand. Most cities are now using the online BSNA system, so we're just catching up to them. But our goal is to not only catch up, it's also to kick it further. I can tell you we've already been speaking with Google about a new piece of technology that we've been building together, I would say. And it's one where you can submit your planning documents and your blueprints, and AI will evaluate it against a code of ordinances before you even submit and let you know if you have any errors. That way you'd be able to know whether you want to submit with errors or not prior to submission. Because right now, plan review and site review takes about 20 business days, and our hope is to reduce that time with such efforts of technology. One of the biggest reasons why your project tends to be declined or rejected is because of missing information. And so if you have AI flagging that for you at the outset, we can save the time of our employees before you even submit, cutting that review time. The last thing I'll speak to, one of the greatest blessings for me was I became a father about 30 days before I became mayor. I've been a father renewed twice now, so I have three daughters under 4. And so became a father 30 days before election this past time around as well. I don't know if my wife is going to do 3 kids this next term. But we need to provide greater resources for our families. One of the cornerstone investments we made in our first 4 years was that of our parks. We invested $35 million in parks across the city. This was a city that didn't have any inclusive playscapes, meaning none of our play structures were accommodating to children with special needs. Now, as of today, every family is within a 10-minute drive of a playscape for children of all needs. By the end of this year, that number will be cut down to 5 minutes. We just announced $3.5 million investment in Ford Field Park and Hemlock Park, 2 of our busiest, bringing about 2 new playscapes, which we're thrilled. And so those will be installed later this fall, cuts down that time from 10 to 5. The other innovation is we're a city that is blessed with 3 libraries, Centennial, Bryant, and Esper. We secured the funding for Esper to convert from a traditional library into a STEAM center. And so that's your science, tech, English, arts, and math. This will hopefully be completed by end of 26, if not early 27. But if you've ever been to Redford Township Library, the Michigan Science Center, STEM Center, STEM City, any of those types of facilities, this is what you're going to get over at Esper Library, which we're extremely thrilled about. And it's at no cost to everyone. I spoke to the parks investment. The other thing that we've been working on as we improve the parks is trying to find additional ways to capture more water. And so as with our Peace Parks West, East, and South, they actually have Peace Park West actually stores 60,000 gallons of rainwater underground. The rainwater that is captured is actually filtered through a natural charcoal process, and then it feeds back into the sprinkler system. And so the water is 100% recycled. Peace Park East also has bioswales that absorbs tens of thousands of gallons of rainwater. Peace Park South, which is completed, the ribbon cutting will be later this spring, also absorbs close to 100,000 gallons of rainwater per rain event. And so every green space, every space that the city owns, we're using as an opportunity to capture more rainwater to get it out of our system. We were also able to launch RX Kids, and so this is a prescription for mothers and new families. Essentially what it does is it provides $4,500 in cash assistance to all mothers welcoming in a new child into this world. To date, I can tell you, we launched this program mid-November. To date, we've passed out nearly $1 million in the city of Dearborn in cash assistance. This is a program that'll cost roughly $25 million per year for the city of Dearborn. We are the baby capital of Michigan. We have more babies per capita than any city in all of Michigan. My story, I guess, adds to that. I did not make the RX Kids timeline this year, but who knows? If we get it for a few more years, maybe I'll qualify then. But this is truly life-changing, and the way it works is that about 16 weeks pregnant, you receive $1,500 cash assistance. Then every month for the first 6 months, you receive $500 cash assistance. It's eligible for all mothers. There's no income eligibility, anything of that nature. 80% of all people who have qualified to date have household incomes of less than $40,000, which is absolutely phenomenal. The majority of the dollars that are used to purchase diapers, are used to make that rent payment, pay utilities, things of that nature. And so it's absolutely astonishing. And what's also great is you typically have 100% take up into this program, meaning 100% of those who are eligible actually apply. If you want to compare this to like food stamp or WIC, those numbers are closer to like 40%. I'm looking at Wayne Metro. I think that number's about right. And so this is because the barriers are far less. It's in a partnership with Michigan State University, Dr. Munahana, who is a phenomenal physician out of the Genesee County area. And the organization that does all the work is called Give Direct. And so we raise the funds philanthropically and through some grants. We pass on the funds to Give Direct, and they handle the rest. So there's zero administrative expense coming out of the city. We just raised the funds and got the program going. And lastly, I think what's important to so many people, one of the biggest issues on the campaign trail, 4 years ago, was property taxes. To date, the property taxes in Dearborn sit about 50.8 mils. When we first came in, it was around 61 mils. So they're down about 17%. In fact, Dearborn's millage rate is now lower than our neighboring city, Dearborn Heights, by about 1 mil or so. So I brag about that because back in the day, everybody went to Dearborn Heights because cheaper taxes. Now it's reversed. And I think it's phenomenal that we've been able to balance our budget. When we first assumed we had a $30 million structural deficit. We had a loss of operating millage that the residents voted down. We had to restructure our budget, but we've had to back structurally balanced budgets, and we're on a strong pathway even if a recession hits due to the work that we've been able to accomplish with our city council. There's a few millages that are coming up. The library millage was voted down by council. It'll be up for renewal this August. I hope you all support. We have amazing libraries. It's a 1 mil renewal. Will not impact the current tax rate. And I know that our schools are working through somewhat of a large bond, probably in the billions sometime later this year, if not next year. But overall, the city's in a very strong financial position. We've also been able to give the largest pay increases to all of our employees in the city's history. And so we have nobody that makes less than 15 for a part-time staff or full-time. General employees had a 2 to 30% pay rate increase over the last budget negotiation. We offer a high deductible health plan, but 100% funded HSA. And so there's no deductible for all of our employees on the healthcare side as well, which we're really proud of. So we were able to accomplish a lot over the last 4 years. And that's what I got for you.
Thank you, Mayor. We have some questions for you, by the way, from the audience, which I know we have been passing around the cards, so we appreciate those of you who have responded. The first question is, what are the rules for replacing a home with an oversized home in the city of Dearborn?
Yeah, so we have our lot coverage requirements. And so you'd be surprised at how architects get, smart with how they design these homes. But I do know council's approached again, wanted to re-examine lot coverage. But we never amended lot coverage to expand how much you can build out. One of the things that we actually did was actually simplify the process. We now measure living green space versus measuring, what you're doing in your backyard. We measure green space. We want 50% green space, 50%, gray space, whatever it is that you're building. But I do know council wants to take another look at it.
Thank you. The next question, how can local restaurants and hospitality businesses better partner with the city for events, tourism, and economic development?
It's a great question. I would say at the outset, connect with, if you want to donate, talk to Maria. You can raise her hand. It's our Director of Philanthropy and Grants. But what we also have done is we've taken the city government outside of the halls of City Hall. And so we have our business liaison team, which is oversaw by Jordan Twardy, our director. And so we have business liaisons dedicated to Michigan Avenue West, Michigan East, Warren and Schaefer, as well as the Dix-Verner corridor. And it's actually their job. I think they did about 3,000 business visits this last year, roughly, which was absolutely phenomenal. And so we work with them. We bring in some of the foodie social media influencers into your business. If you need an advertisement, the city covers those costs. We try to help out, and at every single event, we try to open it up and bring in new local partners, and the city, pays for those food that we're offering to local residents. So if you want to connect with us in any way, talk to a business liaison in our city.
Are there any plans or contingencies for Fairlane Town Center?
We have we have plans. The master plan, so when I came in 2 years ago, I went to city council and I said, at some point the mall is going to fall. That's just the truth. I'd rather not wait for when the mall falls for us to then begin the plan or to begin to process what a master plan for this area will look like. And so with their support, we actually have been master planning that whole area for 2 years. The master plan will be finished this spring. And it's our goal to put on our hats, kind of like we did with Hyatt. We put out a message when the Hyatt went into receivership that if you're looking at buying it, you better talk to us first. Because if we don't like the vision, we're going to pitch our vision. We're not here to accept your vision. And that's what I ended up having with the Hyatt, and that's why we have a successful partnership there. We're going to do the same thing with Fairlane Mall. Fairlane sits on about 125 acres. Now, there's about 4 different operators to Fairlane. You have the Cohen Group, which owns the bulk of what everybody calls Fairlane Mall. Macy's owned by Macy's, Sears owned by Sears, and the Firestone owned by Firestone. And then Ring Road is owned by Ford Motor Company. And so for us, there's a lot of partners there that you have to corral around the table. So we've been meeting with many of them during the master planning process to get their feedback and their input. And so it's our hope that we'll disclose what that master plan looks like this spring. And I imagine at some point Fairlane Mall will go under, and the city will be fairly aggressive at the table to secure the right partner.
So those of us of a certain age will be a little disappointed that you're not going to bring back the monorail.
Monorail, unfortunately will not be there. I was hoping the Rotunda Hotel would be great for you.
Perfect. It sounds exciting. The next question, you spoke a moment ago about libraries. Will the Esper branch still offer traditional library services for adults in addition to the exciting STEAM activities for kids?
Yes, and so the work center, the computers will all be there. There'll be a smaller book collection that'll be stationed over at Esper, but Esper will be our STEAM center hub. I can tell you that we'll also be working through Bryant Library as well to revamp Bryant Library in the same manner.
What incentives will the city of Dearborn provide to attract new businesses and investments to diversify the economy?
I think it depends on what you're offering the city. We believe in responsible development and being strong stewards of the dollar. In terms of the Hyatt, for example, we did a brownfield and a tax abatement capture for quite some time, but it was on the fact that they're spending probably north of $50 million, bringing about 200 units of workforce housing, and bringing back an otherwise dilapidated building that nobody would touch, that has failed since 2012. And for us, and so if you're an employer that wants to bring over 100 plus employees, 200 plus employees, we're willing to sit down and have a conversation about what it would take, especially if you're assuming a building that is blighted, that is outdated, or you're looking at new development. We're happy to have that conversation. We believe in the strength of the small businesses that we have. I can tell you right now, we're talking to 2 employers who have roughly 500 employees in total. These are 2 Dearborn residents who have who are CEOs of this respective employers, but their groups are out of the city, and we're trying to bring them home. And so we're having the right conversation about where we can place them, the type of district we can create, and the type of incentive we can offer to bring those high-paying jobs in the city. And that's the other component, is what is the benefit to Dearborn residents? In the Hyatt agreement, all of the hiring has to be the preference has to be to local, as well as all the businesses that will be operating within the hotel also gives preferential treatment to local Dearborn businesses first and foremost. And so we're very big on Dearborn first. The other thing we also did is we passed an ordinance that says when we go out for bid, if you're Dearborn based, we give you an advantage in the procurement process. We give you additional points if you're located in Dearborn, or give you the opportunity to at least match the lowest bid on certain contracts if you're Dearborn based.
Let's move over to Michigan Avenue, the Great Lakes ACE facility. The questioner wants to know, why is the parking lot only partially paved?
There's multiple owners to the parking lot. It's not a city-owned parking lot. And so I think you're actually seeing that there's like a small slither that's been for sale for quite some time. Somebody thought they bought Michigan Avenue frontage. Turns out you bought like 1 foot of Michigan Avenue frontage with a long line to the middle of a parking lot. And so that one's been up for sale, but it's multiple different owners and such, and that's why you have that. It's not a city parking lot.
When submitting permits online, how does one pay?
It'll be online, and so with our new ERP system, we'll be able to accept all payments online as well. So you'll be able to pay online, submit online, and then track your permit online as well.
And our final question from the audience, this is in regard to our seniors. What is the city doing to help with services as far as leaf, yard, and snow cleanup and things of that nature, and renovations for those who need them to be done.
Yeah, it's a great question. So we obviously have our senior services division, but we also have the Mayor's Service Corps. So on the 2 snowstorms that we've had, we actually have a list internally of seniors that need assistance, and we send out either volunteers or utilize the work service program through the courts to have individuals out there shoveling the snow for seniors, so on and so forth. And so we'll try to connect you in our Mayor's Service program for the summer. The court doesn't really mow your lawn, and so we try to connect you with a young volunteer that's looking to get some community service hours to help you in that case. Utilizing our CDBG programming, we have home assistance upgrades. And so these are basically forgivable loans that you can take over 20 years with a very, very, very small payment to assist you in that manner. And then we also have the transportation services that we offer to our seniors. We just got brand new 8 new smart buses at no expense due to a successful grant application. And so I think we're driving seniors around each and every single day. Then we also have the Meals on Wheels program as well.
Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate your time and your questions.
Thank you.
Once again, Kelly Vandenbach for that program.
So wow, that's amazing. For someone that lives in Dearborn and works in Dearborn, thank you. It's a great place to live and work in. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We appreciate your support, and make sure that you follow the Chamber on our social media accounts to keep up with everything that we have going on. Thank you so much and have a great day.